The last rays of artificial sunlight dimmed across Europa Station 6 as Jackson Cole finished his maintenance shift. 10 years since he'd commanded a warship. And here he was, fixing climate regulators for civilian researchers who had no idea of his past. He preferred it that way. The old uniform and medals remained locked in a crate beneath his bunk, gathering dust alongside memories of battles the Galactic Council preferred everyone forget. "Maintenance Chief Cole," his wristcom chirped. "Report to Admin Level 3. Strange. He rarely ventured above Level 5, where the bureaucrats and military liaisons kept their offices. As he rode the lift upward, Cole noticed security tightening, 3 checkpoints in quick succession, retinal scans that seemed to pull from databases that shouldn't exist anymore. The door slid open to reveal a sparse conference room. Inside stood Captain Marcus Burke, wearing the insignia of Terran Special Operations, a division supposedly disbanded years ago. "Commander Cole," Burke said, emphasizing the rank Cole hadn't used in a decade. "It's Maintenance Chief now," Cole corrected, though his posture instinctively straightened. Burke's smile vanished. "Not anymore. 36 hours ago. The Growl battle group crossed the Neptune defensive line. They've taken the Triton monitoring station and disabled our early warning network. The Council claims it's a peacekeeping mission." Cole's stomach tightened. Peacekeeping doesn't require a dreadnought and 3 assault carriers. "Precisely." Burke activated a holographic display, showing fleet movements. Red triangles, Growl ships, had established positions around Jupiter's moons. "We estimate Earth has 72 hours before they establish orbital superiority." "And why tell me? I've been out for 10 years. "Because," Burke said, sliding a black authorization chip across the table, "you're the only one who can activate Project Leviathan." Cole stared at the chip. The ghost ship. The rumored supercarrier built in secret beneath Europa's ice, then mothballed when the Council forced Earth to sign the Armistice Treaty. "Project Leviathan was decommissioned," Cole said carefully. "The Council inspectors. We're shown a very convincing holographic projection of an empty hangar," Burke finished. "The real Leviathan has been waiting, underneath us, all this time." Cole's fingers closed around the activation chip. "Who authorized this?"
"Admiral Takeda, before the Callisto incident. Authority now falls to General Richards. And Richards chose you."
A sinking feeling gripped Cole's chest. "You realize what the Council will do if we activate Leviathan? They'll claim we violated the treaty. They'll have justification to bombard every major city on Earth." Burke leaned forward. "And if we do nothing, they'll simply occupy us instead, strip mine our resources, and turn Earth into another client world. When you're weak, you get eaten. Commander. That's the only law that matters in this galaxy." Cole pocketed the chip. "I'll need a crew." "Already assembled. Your old team. Those still alive, anyway. The Mark 7 reactor? Smuggled in pieces over the last 3 years. Waiting for installation." Cole nodded slowly. "Then we have work to do." Behind Burke, through the viewport, Europa's ice gleamed in Jupiter's reflected light, a frozen white shell, hiding humanity's last, desperate hope. The vast underground chamber sparkled with activity as Cole entered. 300 meters below Europa's surface, the cavernous dry dock housed the most advanced warship ever built by human hands. The Leviathan stretched nearly 2 kilometers from bow to stern, its dark hull absorbing the hangar lights. "Magnificent, isn't she?" Burke walked alongside Cole on the observation platform. "Designed to face down an entire Council battle group and survive." Cole studied the sleek, predatory lines. Unlike the bulky Terran military designs, Leviathan resembled an elongated arrowhead, with recessed weapon ports and stealth-optimized contours. 6 massive engine nacelles clustered at the stern, dormant now, but designed to channel the awesome power of the Mark 7 reactor. "How long to get her ready?" Cole asked. "The reactor arrives tomorrow. 3 days to installation and testing, assuming nothing goes wrong." Cole turned to face Burke. "And the Council? still claiming the Growl advance is a training exercise. Their forces have already secured the Ganymede shipyards and established a forward operating base on Callisto.
Then we have 3 days, Cole said. I want to meet the crew.
The briefing room buzzed with tension as 30 officers stood at attention. These weren't fresh recruits, but hardened veterans, former commanders, and specialists who'd fought in the border conflicts before the armistice. Many Cole recognized from his old squadron. At ease, Cole said. Most of you know me. The rest know my reputation. I won't sugarcoat our situation. In 72 hours, Earth faces occupation or worse. Our mission is to activate Leviathan and break the Growl blockade before they establish complete orbital control. A tall woman with commander's stripes stepped forward. Sir, Tactical Officer Miranda Chen reporting. The Growl fleet outnumbers us 5-1, even with Leviathan's capabilities. Cole nodded. Which is why we won't engage them directly. Not at first. Our initial mission is shock and awe. Hit fast. Disappear. Let the colonies know Earth isn't beaten. Rally support. And if there is no support, another officer asked. Then we fight anyway, Cole said simply. Because the alternative is watching Earth become another exploited resource world like Xerxes or Vesta. I've seen what happens to populations under Council protection. We all have. The room fell silent. Any other questions? Cole asked. When none came, he continued. Each of you was chosen because you have nothing left to lose. Your careers ended with the armistice. Your families have been relocated to secure facilities. As far as the Council is concerned, you don't exist. He paused, looking each officer in the eye. Make no mistake. If we fail, we'll be branded terrorists. If we're captured, there will be no prisoner exchange, no trial. But if we succeed, we give Earth a fighting chance. That's what we're here for. The reactor arrived in 12 unmarked containers, each requiring 6-person teams in exoskeleton harnesses to move. Cole supervised the installation personally, working alongside Dr. Eliza Harrison, the nuclear physicist responsible for the Mark 7's design. It's not like the standard drives, Harrison explained, as they sealed the reaction chamber. The energy output is exponential once it crosses the threshold. More than enough for the skip drive and the main weapons array. Cole frowned at the pulsing blue heart of the device. And the radiation? Contained, theoretically, the safety systems. Theoretically, Cole repeated. And if the containment fails? Harrison met his gaze steadily. Then we won't have to worry about the Council anymore. The next 48 hours passed in a blur of systems checks and combat drills. The crew moved with increasing confidence through Leviathan's corridors. But Cole sensed the underlying tension. Many had served together before, but never on a vessel like this, with technology that pushed the boundaries of physics. He found Burke in the tactical center, reviewing simulation results. The cloaking system works, Burke reported, but not while using the skip drive. Will be visible during jumps. How long to recalibrate? 15 seconds, minimum. More than enough time for a Growl sensor operator to get a lock. Cole nodded. Then we make sure we jump where they aren't looking. And the weapons? Main cannons are operational. Point defense at 90%. The only system I'm concerned about is the skip drive itself. Burke's expression darkened. You've read the test results? 3 unmanned probes. 2 disintegrated. 1 returned with its atomic structure inverted. That was early prototype testing, Burke countered. The current configuration is stable. So stable we've never risked a human test pilot, Cole said dryly. Before Burke could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. Cole activated the nearest communication panel. Report! The tactical officer's voice crackled through. Sir, Growl fleet has accelerated their timetable. They've bypassed the Mars defensive line. Earth Command is requesting immediate assistance. Cole and Burke exchanged glances. Reactor status? Cole demanded. Online and stable, sir. Then we launch now. All hands to battle stations. Throughout Leviathan, crew members rushed to their positions as the massive vessel hummed to life. In the command center, Cole took the captain's chair, feeling its contours adjust to his body. Familiar, yet strange after so many years. "Prepare for under-ice launch," he ordered. "Activate primary systems." Around him, the bridge illuminated as officers called out status reports. On the main display, Europa's ice ceiling loomed 300 meters above them. "Sir," the engineering officer called, "the ice above us is 2 kilometers thick. We haven't tested the hull integrity against that kind of pressure." "No time like the present," Cole replied. "Engage maneuvering thrusters. 10% power. Take us up slowly." The massive ship trembled as its thrusters pushed against gravity. Leviathan rose toward the ice ceiling, gathering momentum. "Increase power to forward shields," Cole ordered. "Divert emergency power to structural integrity fields." The ice grew closer on the view screen. Cole could feel the crew's collective tension. "Impact in 5 seconds," the tactical officer announced. Cole gripped his chair arms. "Brace for impact." Leviathan struck the ice ceiling with the force of a battering ram. The ship shuddered violently as alarms blared across the bridge. For an excruciating moment, it seemed they might be trapped, crushed between opposing forces. Then the ice gave way. With a thunderous crack that resonated through the hull, Leviathan broke through Europa's surface in a spectacular eruption of ice and vapor. The ship surged upward into the void of space, trailing crystalline debris. "Damage report," Cole called. "Minor hull breaches on decks 3 and 4. Automated system sealing now. Structural integrity at 87%. "Engage cloaking system," Cole ordered. "Set course for Jupiter orbital space. Let's see what we're up against." As Leviathan accelerated away from Europa, its outline blurred and vanished from visual detection. On the bridge, Cole studied the tactical display showing growl positions throughout the solar system. "Look at that concentration around Earth," Burke muttered. "They're not even pretending it's a training exercise anymore." Cole nodded grimly. "They never were. This was always the plan." "Orders, sir?" Cole considered their options. A direct assault on the main fleet would be suicide, even with Leviathan's advanced capabilities. They needed to build momentum, gather allies. "Set course for Callisto," he decided. "The Growl have established their forward command post there. We'll hit them where they feel secure, then disappear before reinforcements arrive." Burke smiled thinly. "Send a message." "Exactly." As Leviathan moved silently through space, Cole received an unexpected communication from Earth. The face of High Chancellor Monroe, head of the Terran Council, appeared on his private screen. "Commander Cole," Monroe said, his expression severe. "I've been informed of your unauthorized activities." Cole kept his face neutral. "The Growl invasion isn't leaving us many options, Chancellor." "The Galactic Council has assured me this is a temporary security operation. If we cooperate, their forces will withdraw once stability is restored." "And you believe that?" Monroe's eyes narrowed. "What I believe is irrelevant. What matters is that you are dangerously close to provoking a full-scale war that Earth cannot win. I am ordering you to stand down and return to Europa base immediately." Cole felt a chill. How did Monroe even know they had launched? The project was compartmentalized to the highest degree. "With respect, Chancellor, I'm following orders from General Richards. Take it up with him." "Richards has been relieved of command," Monroe said coldly. "The Terran Council has voted to comply with Galactic Council directives to ensure minimum civilian casualties." The meaning was clear. Earth's government had capitulated without a fight. "I understand," Cole said, and cut the transmission. Burke studied him from across the bridge. "Orders, sir?" Cole's jaw tightened. "Unchanged. The mission continues." Leviathan slipped into orbit around Callisto 8 hours later, its cloaking system concealing it from Growl sensors. Through the view screen, Cole observed the Growl installation, a sprawling command center with communication arrays and defensive batteries. 5 Growl cruisers patrolled nearby, their angular hulls bristling with weapons. "Analysis," Cole prompted. The tactical officer studied her console. "Command center is shielded, but the power generation facility is exposed on the southern perimeter. Their planetary defense grid is still being calibrated, operating at approximately 60% efficiency." "Perfect," Cole straightened in his chair. "Prepare main cannons. Target their power facility and defense grid nodes. Helm, position us for maximum firing arc." As the crew carried out his orders, Cole addressed the weapons officer. "This will be our first combat test. Fire at my command, then be prepared for immediate cloak reactivation." The tension on the bridge was palpable as Leviathan maneuvered into position, still invisible to enemy sensors. "In range, sir," the weapons officer reported. Cole took a deep breath. "Disengage cloak. Fire main cannons." Leviathan shimmered into visibility as its cloaking field collapsed. Before the Growl vessels could react, brilliant energy beams lanced from Leviathan's bow, striking the planetary targets with devastating precision. The power facility erupted in a spectacular explosion, followed by secondary blasts as defense grid nodes overloaded and detonated. "Direct hits on all targets," Tactical reported. "Growl defense grid is offline." The enemy cruisers were already moving, altering course to intercept the suddenly appeared threat. "Enemy vessels locking weapons," Tactical warned. "Engage skip drive," Cole ordered. "Jump to coordinates Alpha 7. The bridge dimmed momentarily as the skip drive activated. Space seemed to fold around Leviathan, stretching and compressing in impossible ways. For a heartbeat, Cole felt his atoms threatening to separate. Then, reality snapped back into focus. Leviathan reappeared 200,000 kilometers away, behind Jupiter's bulk. "Skip drive successful," the navigation officer announced, relief evident in his voice. "Position confirmed." "Reactivate cloak," Cole commanded. "Damage report?" "Minimal power fluctuations. Hull integrity stable. All systems nominal." Burke allowed himself a smile. "It worked." "Phase 1 worked," Cole corrected. "Now comes the hard part. Communications. Prepare a tight beam transmission to all Terran colonies and outposts. Include footage of our attack on the Callisto base." "What's the message, sir?" Cole considered carefully. "Keep it simple. Earth is not defeated. The fight has just begun. Leviathan has risen." As the message transmitted across the solar system, Cole knew they had crossed a point of no return. The Growl would recognize the attack as a declaration of war, and the Galactic Council would label them terrorists. But for the first time in years, the oppressed colonies would see that resistance was possible. Over the next 72 hours, Leviathan executed a series of lightning strikes against Growl positions throughout the outer solar system. Each attack followed the same pattern: appear, strike with overwhelming force, then vanish, using the skip drive before enemy reinforcements could respond. They destroyed a supply depot on Ganymede, disabled a communications array in the asteroid belt, and ambushed a Growl patrol near Saturn's rings. With each successful mission, the crew's confidence grew, and so did the legend of the ghost ship that could appear anywhere and disappear just as quickly. But not all operations went smoothly. During their attack on a Growl listening post in the Kuiper Belt, one of Leviathan's secondary reactors overloaded, causing severe damage to the engineering section and killing 3 crew members. Cole attended each funeral service, the weight of command growing heavier with each loss. "They knew the risks," Burke said afterward, as they stood in the observation deck watching the bodies being committed to space. "Knowing the risks doesn't make them any easier to bear," Cole replied. Reports from Earth grew increasingly concerning. The Growl occupation had accelerated, with military governors replacing civilian authorities in major cities. Resistance was met with swift and disproportionate force. Meanwhile, Chancellor Monroe appeared regularly on official broadcasts, urging cooperation with the peacekeeping forces. The turning point came during Leviathan's raid on Xerxes Station, a former mining colony that had become a strategic Growl stronghold. The mission was to destroy the station's defensive capabilities and extract a group of resistance leaders being held prisoner. As Leviathan decloaked and opened fire on the station's weapons arrays, something unexpected happened. The station's civilian sectors began broadcasting on all frequencies, cheering the attack. Within minutes, internal explosions rippled through the station as saboteurs, apparently coordinated with Leviathan's arrival, targeted Growl security checkpoints. "Sir," the communications officer called, "we're receiving transmissions from inside the station. The civilian workers are rising up against the Growl security forces. They're requesting extraction." Cole hadn't planned for a mass evacuation. "How many?" "Over 300 civilians, sir." An impossible choice. Taking on that many refugees would strain Leviathan's resources and limit their mobility. Leaving them meant almost certain reprisals from the Growl. "Prepare docking protocols," Cole ordered. "We'll take as many as we can." The extraction was chaotic. Leviathan extended docking tubes to Xerxes Station while maintaining suppressing fire against Growl reinforcements. Civilians streamed aboard, men, women, and children, carrying whatever possessions they could grab, faces etched with fear and hope. Among them was Governor Ryle, the former administrator of Xerxes before the Growl occupation. "Commander Cole," Ryle said when they met in Leviathan's conference room, "you've become quite the legend in the outer colonies." "We're just doing what's necessary," Cole replied. Ryle's expression grew serious. "You've done more than that. You've given people hope. After the armistice, everyone believed resistance was futile. Leviathan has changed that perception. The Growl still outnumber us. The Galactic Council still controls most of the supply routes." "Numbers and control aren't everything," Ryle countered. "The Council rules through fear and the perception of invincibility. You've shattered that perception." He activated a datapad, showing Cole reports from throughout the solar system. On a dozen worlds and stations, resistance movements had sprung up, inspired by Leviathan's attacks. Client worlds long subjugated by the Council were beginning to question their loyalty. "This is bigger than one ship now," Ryle said. "It's becoming a movement." Before Cole could respond, the tactical alert sounded. Burke's voice came over the intercom. "Commander to the bridge. We have a situation." On the main view screen, a massive Growl battle fleet had appeared at the edge of the system, 15 capital ships escorting the dreadnought Judicator, the flagship of the Galactic Council's military arm. "They're not here for Xerxes," Burke said grimly. "They're hunting us." "How did they find us?" The question was answered moments later, when Chancellor Monroe's face appeared on a priority channel. His expression was triumphant. "Commander Cole," he said, "I see you've noticed our Council allies have arrived in force. I've provided them with the frequency signatures of your Mark 7 reactor. No matter where you hide, they can track you now." Cold fury washed over Cole. "You've doomed Earth to permanent occupation." "I've secured Earth's survival," Monroe snapped. "The Council has promised favorable terms if we help eliminate the Leviathan threat. You're the only obstacle to peace now." The transmission ended. Cole turned to Burke. "Options. The skip drive could get us out of the system, but they'll track us wherever we go. We need to face them. That's suicide against those numbers." Burke's expression was resolute. "Not if we choose the battlefield carefully." Cole studied the tactical display, mind racing. Then he saw it. A possibility. Desperate but with a chance of success. "Set course for Saturn," he ordered. "I have a plan." Saturn's rings provided the perfect cover. Leviathan positioned itself within the densest concentration of ice and rock, its cloaking system active but unnecessary given the natural concealment. "The Growl fleet is approaching," Tactical reported, maintaining standard search pattern. Cole had gathered his senior officers to explain the strategy. "They can detect our reactor signature, but not our exact position. When they enter the ring plane to search for us, we'll use the skip drive to jump directly into their formation." "That close?" Bert questioned. "The spatial distortion could tear us apart." "It's a calculated risk," Cole acknowledged. "We'll emerge in the middle of their fleet, where their ships will hesitate to fire for fear of hitting each other. We target the Judicator's bridge and engines, then skip out before they can coordinate a response." The officers exchanged uneasy glances. "It's unorthodox," the tactical officer admitted. "But it might work. Their formation is designed to detect and engage threats from a distance, not from within." Cole nodded. "Prepare all weapon systems. Load tactical nuclear warheads in tubes 1 through 6. We'll only get one shot at this." As the officers dispersed to their stations, Governor Ryle approached Cole. "If you succeed, what happens afterward? The Council won't simply give up." "One battle doesn't win a war," Cole agreed. "But destroying their flagship will send a message that can't be ignored. The client worlds watching this conflict will see that the Council isn't invincible." "And if you fail?" Cole's expression hardened. "Then someone else will have to carry on the fight." Hours later, the Growl fleet entered Saturn's ring plane, spreading out in a search pattern designed to flush out Leviathan. On the bridge, Cole watched their methodical approach, waiting for the perfect moment. "Enemy vessels at optimal dispersion," Tactical reported. "Maximum confusion will occur if we jump now." Cole took a deep breath. "All hands, brace for combat maneuvers. Engage skip drive. Target the heart of their formation." The familiar disorientation of the skip drive washed over the crew as Leviathan phased out of normal space. This jump was different, shorter, more violent. The ship shuddered as it tore through the fabric of reality across a mere few thousand kilometers. They emerged directly between two Growl cruisers, so close that collision alarms screamed across the bridge. Without hesitation, Cole barked orders. "All weapons, fire at designated targets, launch nuclear torpedoes." Leviathan unleashed its full arsenal. Energy beams sliced through the nearest Growl vessel, cutting it in half before its shields could activate. Torpedoes streaked toward the Judicator, detonating against its engines in a series of blinding explosions. The Growl fleet reacted in confusion, some ships firing wildly, others attempting to maneuver away from the sudden threat in their midst. In the chaos, two Growl destroyers collided, their shields flaring and failing as they tumbled out of formation. "Direct hits on Judicator," Tactical reported. "Their main propulsion is offline, detecting multiple hull breaches and power fluctuations." "Target their command center," Cole ordered. "All remaining energy to forward cannons." Leviathan's main weapons charged, drawing massive power from the Mark 7 reactor. The resulting beam struck the Judicator's bridge tower, vaporizing it instantly. The massive dreadnought began listing to port, secondary explosions rippling along its length. "Judicator is critically damaged," Tactical confirmed. "But the remaining fleet vessels are reorganizing. They're surrounding us, sir." Indeed. The surviving Growl ships had recovered from their initial shock and were moving to encircle Leviathan. Energy weapons lanced out, most deflected by Leviathan's shields, but some finding their mark. The ship shuddered under the impacts. "Shield integrity at 60% and falling," Engineering reported. "We can't sustain this level of fire." Cole had anticipated this. "Engage secondary jump. Get us out of here." "Skip drive is recharging," Navigation responded anxiously. 15 seconds to minimum power." It would be the longest 15 seconds of their lives. Leviathan shuddered under increasingly accurate enemy fire. Breach alarms sounded from multiple decks. A power conduit exploded on the port side of the bridge, showering sparks across the tactical station. 10 seconds. Navigation counted down. A massive impact rocked the ship, throwing crew members from their stations. Emergency lighting flickered. "Direct hit to our port nacelle," Engineering reported. "Skip drive alignment compromised." "Can we still jump?" Cole demanded. "Yes, but I can't guarantee where we'll end up." 5 seconds. Another hit. More alarms. Smoke began filling the bridge as fire suppression systems activated. "Skip drive ready!" "Jump," Cole ordered. "Anywhere but here." Space twisted around Leviathan once more as the damaged skip drive engaged. The sensation was worse this time. Cole felt as if his body was being pulled apart, molecule by molecule. Several crew members lost consciousness. Then, abruptly, normal space returned. "Position?" Cole asked, fighting through waves of nausea. Navigation checked the instruments, then looked up in shock. "Sir, we're in Neptune's orbit, on the far side of the solar system. Against all odds. They had escaped, but Leviathan was wounded, limping. Damage reports flooded in from all sections. 27 crew members dead, dozens more injured. The port nacelle was completely destroyed, and the skip drive would require extensive repairs before it could be used again. Yet, they had achieved the impossible. The Judicator, pride of the Galactic Council fleet, lay crippled or destroyed. The myth of Council invincibility had been shattered forever. As the hours passed, reports from across the solar system confirmed their victory's impact. The destruction of the Judicator had been broadcast by civilian channels throughout the colonies. On 3 client worlds, populations had risen up against their council governors. Even on Earth, despite Monroe's censorship efforts, underground networks spread footage of the battle. The tide was turning. 3 weeks later, Leviathan limped into the shadow of Titan, Saturn's largest moon. Repairs had restored basic functionality, but the ship remained at reduced capability. Cole had chosen this rendezvous point carefully. Titan's thick atmosphere provided natural concealment, and its distance from Earth offered strategic flexibility. Here, representatives from a dozen colonies and resistance movements had gathered to discuss the formation of a unified front against the Council. The Terran Free Alliance was taking shape. In Leviathan's conference room, Cole observed the assembled delegates: Governor Reel from Xerxes, Commander Takeda representing Mars, leaders from Europa, Ganymede, and the asteroid belt colonies. Even Earth had sent representatives, smuggled out through resistance networks. "The Council is vulnerable," Takeda was saying. "Their response to the Saturn engagement has been disorganized. Reports indicate they've pulled back to defensive positions around Earth and Venus. But Monroe still controls Earth's government," another delegate countered. "As long as he remains in power, full liberation is impossible." All eyes turned to Cole. Though he held no official political position, Leviathan's successes had made him the de facto leader of the resistance. "Monroe's position is weaker than it appears," Cole said. "We've received word that elements of Earth's military are questioning his authority. The Growl occupation has become increasingly brutal, turning public opinion against his collaboration." "So what's our next move?" Ryle asked. Cole activated the holographic display, showing the solar system. "We don't have the strength for a direct assault on Earth. Not yet. But we can continue to disrupt Council operations, free more colonies, build our alliance. Each success brings more ships, more resources to our cause." "And Leviathan?" Takeda asked. "She'll lead the way," Cole replied. "As soon as repairs are complete." The meeting continued late into the night, hammering out the framework of their alliance. When it concluded, Cole found himself alone on Leviathan's observation deck, watching Saturn's rings shimmer in the distance. Burke joined him silently. "The engineers say the skip drive will be operational within 3 days," Burke reported. "Not at full capacity, but enough for tactical jumps." Cole nodded. "Good. We'll need it for what comes next." "Which is?" "Vesta Black Site, the Council's secret research facility. According to intelligence, they're developing weapons specifically designed to counter Leviathan." Burke frowned. "Heavily defended?" "The heaviest, but also our best chance to eliminate their technological advantage." They stood in companionable silence for a moment, contemplating the challenges ahead. "You know," Burke said finally, When this mission began, I thought we were fighting just to survive, to prevent Earth from becoming another exploited resource world. And now? Now I realize we're fighting for something bigger. A fundamental change in how humanity exists in this galaxy. No more client worlds. No more exploitation. Cole smiled faintly. Freedom's a powerful motivator. Worth dying for? Worth living for, Cole corrected. That's the harder part. As if to punctuate his words, a series of small ships appeared on the long-range sensors, vessels from the outer colonies, coming to join the Alliance. Each represented another community, choosing to stand against oppression. The road ahead would be difficult. The Council still commanded vast resources, and Earth remained under occupation. But for the first time in generations, humanity had hope, and a weapon powerful enough to make that hope reality. In his quarters, later that night, Cole recorded a message to be broadcast throughout the solar system. This is Commander Jackson Cole of the Terran vessel Leviathan. To all colonies and outposts, to every human living under Council rule, we did not start this war. We did not choose this fight, but we will finish it. Earth is not alone. Leviathan is not alone. Together, we stand for something greater than survival. We stand for freedom, and freedom, once ignited, cannot be extinguished. Throughout the ship, crews worked tirelessly to complete repairs. In the engine room, technicians recalibrated the damaged skip drive. In the medical bay, injured crew members recovered, eager to return to their posts. And in the hangar bay, smaller vessels from the newly formed Alliance docked, bringing fresh supplies and volunteers. Leviathan had become more than a weapon. It had become a symbol, a rallying point for all who dared to challenge the status quo. As Cole looked out at the stars, he knew that whatever came next, humanity's place in the galaxy had forever changed. The fight had just begun. 3 months after the Battle of Saturn, the Terran Free Alliance had grown from a loose coalition into a formidable force. Dozens of colonies had declared their independence from the Galactic Council. Supply lines to Earth had been established through clandestine routes, bypassing Monroe's blockades, and Leviathan, though still bearing the scars of previous engagements, had been fully repaired and enhanced with technology seized from Council outposts. The Alliance's governing council met aboard Leviathan in orbit around Neptune. Representatives from 23 worlds and stations gathered to discuss their next move. The momentum was with them, but the Council was regrouping, marshaling its forces for a decisive counterattack. Our intelligence indicates they're assembling a fleet twice the size of the one we faced at Saturn, Takeda reported. 3 dreadnoughts, supported by at least 30 capital ships. They're calling it the Pacification Force. Target? Cole asked. Earth, initially, then a systematic operation to retake all rebellious colonies. They're planning to make examples of resistance leaders. Reel leaned forward. Then we must strike first, hit their staging areas before they can organize. The discussion grew heated as delegates debated strategies. Some advocated for guerrilla tactics, continuing to harass Council supply lines and outposts. Others pushed for a decisive battle to break the Council's military power, once and for all. Cole listened to all sides before speaking. The Council believes it can win through superior numbers and firepower, but our advantage has always been flexibility and the will to fight. We won't defeat them by mirroring their tactics. He activated the tactical display, highlighting Neptune's orbit. We'll make our stand here, drawing their main force away from Earth. When they commit to battle, our sleeper cells on Earth will rise up and neutralize Monroe's government. You're proposing to use Leviathan as bait? Burke asked incredulously. I'm proposing to use Leviathan as it was designed, a force multiplier. The Council still fears this ship. They'll commit everything to destroy it, leaving their flank exposed. The plan was audacious, perhaps suicidal, but as Cole outlined the details, the delegates began to see its potential. With coordinated strikes across multiple fronts, they could fracture the Council's response, preventing them from bringing their full might to bear at any single point. 2 weeks later, Leviathan took position in the Neptune system, accompanied by the growing Alliance fleet, a motley collection of converted freighters, refitted military vessels, and ships that had defected from Earth's navy. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but each crew fought for their homes, their families, their freedom. Cole stood on Leviathan's bridge, watching the tactical display as Council forces approached. The massive pacification fleet had taken the bait, diverting from Earth to eliminate the Alliance's flagship once and for all. "All ships, battle formations," Cole ordered. "Execute Operation Trident." The Alliance fleet split into 3 groups, each targeting a different section of the approaching Council armada. Leviathan led the central thrust, its advanced weapon systems counterbalancing its numerical disadvantage. "Enemy fleet entering weapons range," Tactical reported. "They're launching fighters." "Engage point defense systems," Cole ordered. "All batteries, commence firing." Space erupted in a spectacular light show as energy weapons crisscrossed the void between the opposing fleets. Council dreadnoughts launched salvos of missiles, most intercepted by Alliance point defense systems, but some finding their marks. Alliance ships exploded or spun away, trailing debris and atmosphere. Leviathan pushed forward into the heart of the Council formation, its reinforced shields absorbing punishment that would have destroyed any other vessel. Its main cannons fired continuously, each shot finding a target among the Council's capital ships. "Skip drive status?" Cole asked as Leviathan shuddered under enemy fire. "Charged and ready, sir." "Execute jump sequence Alpha. Take us behind their command ship." The skip drive engaged, folding space around Leviathan. The massive vessel disappeared from the battle, leaving momentary confusion among both enemy and Allied forces. Seconds later, it reappeared directly astern of the Council flagship, in its defensive blind spot. "All weapons, fire on their engines and command center!" Leviathan unleashed its full arsenal at point-blank range. The Council flagship's shields overloaded and collapsed under the concentrated barrage. Secondary explosions rippled along its hull as critical systems failed catastrophically. Throughout the Neptune system, similar scenes played out as Alliance forces executed coordinated attacks on Council vessels. What they lacked in firepower, they made up for in determination and tactical flexibility. Meanwhile, on Earth, the coordinated uprising had begun. Resistance cells activated simultaneously across all major cities, targeting Council occupation forces and Monroe's administration buildings. The fighting was fierce, with civilian casualties mounting on both sides. But the element of surprise gave the resistance a crucial advantage. In the presidential compound, Monroe watched in horror as his security forces were overwhelmed. He had gambled everything on Council protection, only to find that protection withdrawn when needed most. When resistance fighters breached his office, he faced them with the dignity of a politician who knows his time has ended. "You realize the Council will never allow this rebellion to succeed," he said, as they placed him under arrest. "The Council no longer dictates Earth's fate," the resistance leader replied. "We do." Back in the Neptune system, the battle had reached its climax. The Council fleet, despite its numerical superiority, found itself fragmented and outmaneuvered. The destruction of their flagship had sown confusion throughout their command structure, with individual captains making contradictory decisions. Leviathan, though damaged from multiple hits, continued to serve as the Alliance's spearhead, jumping from position to strike at enemy weak points. Its presence alone was enough to send Council vessels into defensive postures, allowing smaller Alliance ships to press their attacks. After 18 hours of continuous combat, the Council fleet began to withdraw, not in an organized retreat, but in a scattered, piecemeal fashion, each captain making the individual decision that the battle was lost. On Leviathan's bridge, exhausted crew members watched in disbelief as enemy signatures disappeared from their sensors. "They're retreating," Burke said, voice hoarse from shouting orders. "All sectors report Council forces breaking contact and withdrawing." Cole, who hadn't left the command chair throughout the entire engagement, allowed himself a moment of relief. Casualties? 23 Alliance vessels destroyed, 17 severely damaged. Crew losses still being tallied, but estimated at over 800. A heavy price, but far less than they had expected to pay. The Council fleet had lost nearly twice that number, including their flagship and 2 dreadnoughts. And Earth. Communications worked feverishly at her station. "Reports still coming in, sir. Resistance forces have secured most major government centers. Monroe is in custody. Council occupation troops are surrendering or retreating to their ships. Victory. Not complete. Not final. But significant enough to change the course of the conflict. For the first time since the armistice, Earth was free from external control." In the days that followed, Leviathan returned to Earth orbit, a symbol of liberation rather than rebellion. Cole stood in the observation deck, watching the blue-green planet below, a world he had left in disgrace 10 years earlier, now welcoming him as a hero. Burke joined him, looking unusually formal in a dress uniform. "The Provisional Government is requesting your presence at the formation ceremony. They're establishing the Terran Free Alliance as an official governing body." "In what capacity am I invited?" Cole asked warily. "They're offering you command of the Unified Defense Force. All military assets, including Leviathan, would fall under your authority." Cole considered this silently. He had never sought power, only the freedom to protect what he valued. Yet leadership had found him nonetheless. "What about the Council? This isn't over." "No," Burke agreed. "Intelligence suggests they're regrouping in the Proxima system, but they've lost significant military assets. And more importantly, they've lost the aura of invincibility. Client worlds throughout the sector are declaring independence or demanding new treaties." Cole nodded slowly. "Then we've achieved what we set out to do. We've given humanity a fighting chance." "More than that," Burke said. "We've given them hope." 6 months later, representatives from 42 human worlds gathered on Earth to formalize the Terran Free Alliance. The ceremony took place in the rebuilt Grand Assembly Hall, its transparent dome offering a view of Leviathan in low orbit, a constant reminder of the power that had made their independence possible. Cole, now wearing the insignia of Fleet Admiral, stood at the podium facing the assembled delegates and billions watching via broadcast throughout human space. 10 years ago, I believed humanity's spirit had been broken, he began. I believed we had accepted subjugation as the price of peace. I was wrong. The human spirit cannot be permanently suppressed. It can be hidden, like Leviathan beneath Europa's ice. But it remains, waiting for the right moment to emerge. He looked out at the faces before him, former governors and resistance fighters, engineers and soldiers, all united by a common purpose. We did not choose this conflict. We would have preferred peaceful coexistence with the Galactic Council. But when faced with exploitation and oppression, we chose to stand and fight rather than kneel and surrender. That choice has brought us here today. Cole gestured to the view screen, showing the solar system, now secured by Alliance patrols. This is only the beginning. The Council will return, and when they do, they will find us stronger, more united, and more determined than ever. Not because we seek war, but because we value peace, real peace, built on mutual respect and sovereignty, not submission. He paused, letting his words sink in. Leviathan was built as a weapon of last resort, a final defense against overwhelming odds. It has served that purpose. But the true strength of humanity lies not in a single ship, no matter how powerful, but in our collective will to determine our own destiny. As the ceremony concluded, Cole returned to Leviathan for what might be his final visit as its commander. The massive vessel would soon become the flagship of the Alliance fleet, with a new captain taking the command chair while Cole assumed broader responsibilities. Walking through the corridors, he remembered the doubts he had felt when first reactivated the ship, the fear that they were embarking on a suicidal mission that would only bring more suffering to Earth. Those fears had not been unfounded. Many had died, cities had burned, but from that destruction had emerged a new possibility, a human civilization that stood on its own terms in a hostile galaxy. On the observation deck, Cole found Burke waiting. "The refit teams are ready to begin work," Burke reported. "The new reactor design should increase power efficiency by 30%. Cole nodded. "And the skip drive modifications?" Dr. Harrison believes she can reduce the recalibration time to under 5 seconds. That would make Leviathan even more effective in combat scenarios. "Good. We'll need every advantage." Cole stared out at Earth below. "The Council won't accept this situation permanently. They're already fortifying their remaining outposts in the outer system." "Let them come," Burke said confidently. "We'll be ready." Cole wasn't so certain. The Alliance had won a significant victory, but the Galactic Council controlled hundreds of worlds across multiple star systems. The conflict could stretch for years, perhaps decades. Yet, as he watched Alliance ships patrolling in formation, bearing the new insignia of the Terran Free Alliance, he felt something he hadn't experienced in many years: pride. Not just in what they had accomplished, but in what they represented: humanity's refusal to accept subjugation, even against overwhelming odds. Later, addressing the newly formed Alliance fleet from Leviathan's command center, Cole delivered a message that would be remembered for generations. "We did not rise up merely to survive, though survival was certainly at stake. We rose to affirm that freedom is the birthright of all sentient beings. That principle will guide us through the challenges ahead, whether they come tomorrow or a century from now. Remain vigilant, remain united, and remember that Leviathan may have been the symbol of our resistance, but you, each of you, were its heart and soul." As Leviathan moved away from Earth to begin its patrol of the outer system, Cole stood on the bridge one last time. The ship had changed him as much as he had changed the galaxy. From a bitter, disillusioned veteran hiding on Europa, he had become a leader of humanity's first truly independent interplanetary alliance. Whatever the future held, one thing was certain: Earth and its colonies would never again be dismissed as backward or irrelevant. They had stunned the galaxy, not just with Leviathan's firepower, but with their determination to chart their own course among the stars. The hidden Supercarrier had emerged from beneath the ice, and with it, humanity's rightful place in the cosmos.